Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Wes, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a bike repair. We're going to be replacing rotors, replacing brake pads, doing a complete oil flush, cleaning the calipers, basically just hitting the reset button on these brakes. They just need a little bit of love. There's some little bit of rotor wear on the rotors. Customer was getting some loud squealing, so we just basically decided we need to start over. We need to just replace everything because it was time. The pads are getting worn, so it's kind of perfect timing for everything. So first thing we're gonna start with, obviously removing the wheels. Pretty easy to do, and then we're gonna remove the rotors and get those installed first. Upon removing this rotor, when I was doing this repair, I realized that I ordered the wrong size rotor, which was kind of a bummer. I ordered two 160s and didn't realize there was a 140 in the back. I don't know why I did that. Most road bikes are 140, 160, 160 being in the front, 140 being in the rear. And for some reason, I just had this mountain bike mindset where usually the rotors are the same front and rear. Thankfully, the rear rotor wasn't actually very worn out at all. Actually, it probably only had like maybe 10-15% wear on it. So we're actually gonna just use it for now until we get the new one. So it's fine. The front one, however, is a lot more worn. This customer does use his front brake a lot more than his rear. So we're actually gonna replace the front one, so that worked out. And then we just gotta remove this little safety sticker first. This is always so annoying. That basically just tells you don't stick your finger in the rotor when it's moving so it doesn't get chopped off. And then, all right, now we got the rotor on. We're gonna grease up the rotor lock ring here. I try to put grease on every type of threaded thing, just, any type of threaded bolt or nut, whatever, just depending on the application, I guess. But you always want to grease it. People are terrible sometimes with how they take care of their bikes. So they're washing their bikes, and then it leaves water deposits, and it's really hard to get stuff off or get stuff loosened. So grease is always good. Kind of acts as like a weatherproofing. All right, so now we got the rotor situation all done. We're gonna start with removing the brake pads. So still, this is pretty simple. We're just gonna remove, it's got a little threaded pin in there and then a locking. And then I'm gonna also take off the little rubber boot that goes over the bleed nipple. So we wanna make sure we keep all that in a good spot so we don't lose it. Anytime you drop anything on the floor in a shop, it's really hard to find. All right, now that we got that all removed, we're gonna clean the inside of the calipers. And I'm just using a regular rag with some really hot water, which has got a light degreaser in it, so nothing too strong. And then I'm just gonna kind of floss this and really just clean it really well. Same thing with the front, I'm just gonna floss it a little bit, get all the brake dust as best as I can, because that's basically what happens over time is as you brake dust will come off your brake pads, and it'll get all over the caliper. It gets on the pistons of the caliper, and every time they go in and out, it takes a little bit of that dirt, brake dust with it, and that's what gets the oil all dirty. So now that I've gotten pretty much most of the caliper clean, I'm gonna actually push the pistons out just a little bit so I can clean around the pistons. And I'm just using a really small, lightweight, or just using a really small Phillips or flathead screwdriver. Sorry, can't talk. Flathead screwdriver with a rag, and I'm just lightly cleaning it. I'm not trying to scrub it or anything too hard because I don't want to damage the pistons because they're ceramic. So I just want to clean around them. And then here I'm gonna actually hold down the right side piston so the left one can actually push out. Sometimes the pistons get stuck, so we kind of want to help break free the one that's getting stuck and causing uneven brake pad wear or any type of rubbing noises. So we want to clean that one as best as we can, so that way once you put the pads on and bleed everything, hopefully the pistons will start to move evenly. That's one of the main issues with disc brakes. Sometimes pistons don't move evenly. All right, now that we got those clean, we're gonna get all our tools ready. Just got my little bleed syringe. All right, and we need to remove the bleed screw. All right, these Di2 levers, sometimes if somebody puts them on too tight, they're really hard to get off. You can see it really looked like it was really tight when I was trying to take it off. And yeah, you can strip those things really easy. Uh-oh. There you go. Like I said, you drop something and it just disappears. There, it's gone now. It's gone forever. I've got to go really far underneath there now. I gotta pull this thing out to find it. Oh, there it is. Oh man, I hate dropping stuff.
That just sucked.
Just goes off into Narnia. All right, now we got so this requires a little adapter for the bleed cup, and we're gonna screw that in first. Get that all set, and what that does is it basically, once you push the oil out the other side, it just fills that cup up, which is a great process. Really love these Shimano bleeds. So I'm gonna put a little bit of oil in there, just in case we end up sucking oil out the other way. I don't want to suck in air. So, all right, now we gotta find the right bleed block for this. Somewhere in my little bleed block bin there. All right, now we got it. So we're gonna insert this, and I think I need a pin for this too. Yeah, yep. That way it doesn't fall out. So that basically just acts so the pistons don't move while you're trying to bleed it. And then I'm gonna loosen this just a little bit, and that'll be for later. But it also helps on this particular frame to insert the bleed syringe because it's so close to the seat stay. So I'm gonna lower my stand a little bit so I can get a little bit better, as far as getting the bleed cup higher than the caliper. So when I push the oil out, all the bubbles want to float to the highest point. So that'll make that easier. So all we're gonna do is, we're just gonna fit that right on there. And then I already pre-loosened it. So we're just gonna push that in there. Feels a little tight. Sometimes they get clogged for different reasons. It could be when they were assembled. They use a special, some type of like glue or paste or something when they put in the hose at the front where the shifter is at. When it connects, there's some type of like glue that goes around the lock bolt, and sometimes it can get in the hose, just depending on who was the last person to build it. And that can get inside the actual cable and cause a little bit of blockage. So everything feels pretty okay. I'm actually gonna wipe this because it's gonna annoy the hell out of me, right? And I'm just gonna push a little bit more oil through. The oil in this system was actually pretty clean. You'll actually see it in the cup up there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually still the same color. It's still red. Usually when it comes out, it's usually black, which means that the customer has been using the system a lot and hasn't had it bled or serviced. So now that we've flushed out the oil, I'm going to clean this off. And this is a very important part. I'm actually blowing air onto the bleed nipple because a little bit of oil will sit inside that bleed nipple. And if you don't blow it out, it'll actually leak out over time onto the caliper, onto the pads, and then it'll cause squealing. If you get any oil on your pads, they're pretty much done. So you gotta be very thorough when it comes to cleaning. You don't want any leftover oil anywhere. So now I'm now doing a little bit of a bleed, just kind of trying to get the bubbles to come up to the cup. Now that I'm good with that, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna clean it a little bit more, I believe. Yep, I think so. No? Yes? Yep. I'm gonna do the final cleaning portion, which I'm gonna use a little bit of alcohol here, just to clean the rear rotor that I installed. Actually, I'm gonna clean that first. Sometimes when I put these on, I might have grease on my fingers, and I maybe missed it. And like I said, if you get any grease on those pads, you're screwed. So I always clean the rotor, even though it's probably clean. I just don't want to, make any mistakes at this point. So it's always good to check. Now I'm just gonna floss the inside there. I'm gonna dry it off, making sure there's no oil, no moisture anywhere on that caliper before I put the pistons in there. Now that I got the bleed screw, bleed nipple all clean, I'm going to put the little rubber seal back over, and that just protects dirt from getting in. It's definitely something you need to make sure you cover those, especially on mountain bikes, because there's a lot more dirt involved when riding. Road bikes, I don't really ever see those things get filled with dirt, but typically when I take that bleed nipple cover off, I'll blow it out with the air compressor, because sometimes there'll be dirt in there, and you don't want to push dirt back into the system. Now that we're good, okay, yeah, we got the pads in there, and then we're gonna put in the little pin screw, and then you just gotta thread that in and tighten it up, and then put the little safety clip in there. I'm just using a flathead screwdriver, nothing fancy here. All right, perfect. Just tighten that up, make sure that's good, and then put the little safety clip. So it's a little clip that goes on there just in case the screw backs out and loosens up. That's just like a safety device that holds that pin in there from actually coming out, and then the pad's coming out. All right, so now we're actually gonna insert the wheel, and I still have the bleed cup out. We're not quite done. And at this point, I wanna let the pistons reset. So we're just gonna pump that, and we're gonna try to pump any bubbles out at this point. So I'm just gonna kind of rock it back and forth, trying to get the bubbles to come up to the highest point. This usually takes a little while. Yep, you can kind of see there that there is some bubbles coming up. So it's always good to do this. And I'll even tap the wheel on the ground a little bit to kind of bounce, kind of shake out any bubbles, any air that's trapped in the system, to get it to come up to the bleed cup. That's what we want. All right. We got a few more bubbles there. I'm just gonna keep doing it. All right. I don't know if you can see. Try to shoot this video in the highest quality possible so you can see all the details. That's the fun part. All right, cool. I think we're good. All right, yeah, now I'm just gonna cap the inside of the bleed cup, so when I remove it, oil doesn't spill all over the lever there. So we're gonna set that aside for now, and then we're gonna reinstall our bleed screw, or bleed, whatever you want to call it, cover there, and make sure this is not too tight. It's literally like, I think it's less than 1 Newton meter or something like that, 0.7 Newton meters tightness is what they recommend. So that one's good. So now that the pads all reset, I'm just going to check it, make sure that they look like they're moving equally, and then I'm going to now tighten up the brake here, just align it, get it all set. And in this video, I'm actually only just showing you the rear bleed. I wasn't gonna shoot the front because it's literally the exact same process. So I figured that would be the point. And then I'm just gonna double check, make sure nothing is rubbing, everything is good. All right, great. Now I got the front one already done. And then at this point, I'm gonna remove the bike, and I'm gonna test ride it and then do the bedding in process. So that's basically dragging the brakes, getting up to speed, and then dragging the brakes to a slowing stop to burn in the pad material onto the rotor. And that's going to finalize the process there. You gotta make sure you do that before you go out and ride, because you don't want to grab the brakes super hard. You'll end up actually glazing them. You want to make sure you get the pad material onto the rotor nice and evenly. Basically, Shimano recommends, I think, 20 to 15 slowing stops. So like, you get up to speed and then you do like a slowing stop. You don't want to lock it up. You don't want to try to like come to a complete stop. Just kind of a drag, and then you'll feel it increase power over time. And then yeah, that's it. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to post more videos every few weeks as time goes on. Again, thank you for watching. Take care.